In this module, we will discuss the matching and referral process. This is an overview of the entry point coordinated entry process. After access, phase assessment, and prioritization, we're ready to discuss the matching and referral process. Here's an overview of the phase assessment. We go more into depth about the phase assessment in modules 7, 8, 9, and 10, but it's important to know that the information collected during the phase assessment is used during the matching and referral process. This is an overview of the permanent supportive housing process, which goes from match to referral to housed. Here is a more detailed overview. The CE team identifies an eligible match for the vacancy. The sending agency completes client eligibility, documentation, and maintains contact with the client. The receiving agency works with the client to locate and maintain housing. When the CE team makes a permanent supportive housing match, the sending agency is notified and has 5 business days to respond. When responding, the sending agency must confirm with the CE team that the person is eligible and has accepted the offer. If the sending agency is unable to locate the client and obtain a decision, the CE team will move to the next eligible client for that vacancy. The original client remains eligible for future vacancies, pending remaining actively engaged. This is a sample permanent supportive housing match email. As you can see, the CE team provides the region of the vacancy and match date. The sending agency should respond with confirmation that the person is still eligible and has accepted the match. Once the client has accepted a permanent supportive housing match, the sending agency has 5 business days to complete the required documentation, which includes phase assessment parts 4 through 6, length of time homeless verification, and disability verification. The CE team verifies the documentation for permanent supportive housing matches. If the sending agency and the client are unable to complete documentation, the CE team may move to the next eligible client for that vacancy. The client will be considered for future vacancies for which they are eligible. For documentation to be considered complete, it must be uploaded and unlocked in HMIS. Modules 9 and 10 go into more detail about the phase assessment documentation process. You can also see the documentation guidance document for more information about completing the phase assessment. The goal for permanent supportive housing match to referral is no more than 14 calendar days. Upon receipt of a permanent supportive housing referral, the receiving agency has 5 business days to contact the sending agency to schedule a meeting and discuss the referral. Receiving agencies are to begin housing location immediately after receiving a referral and no later than the day after they first meet a client. This is an example of a permanent supportive housing referral email. After receiving a referral, receiving agencies initiate contact with sending agencies to schedule an in-person client meeting. The HUD goal for total time from referral to housed should take no longer than 30 calendar days. The rapid rehousing process is similar, but has a different timeline. This is an overview of the rapid rehousing matching and referral process. As with permanent supportive housing, the CE team identifies an eligible match for the vacancy. The sending agency completes client eligibility, documentation, and maintains contact with the client. The receiving agency works with the client to locate and maintain housing. First, receiving agencies notify the CE team of housing vacancies by completing the request for a referral form. The information provided includes funding source and requirements, assistance parameters, vacancy type, location area, and timing of availability. Next, the CE team will match potentially eligible households from the prioritized list who score over 4 on the VI-SPDAT, have been active in the last 30 days, have an HMIS progress tracker initiated, and the sending agency has verified literal homelessness. CE will match the highest prioritized eligible household whose strengths, needs, and preferred housing location matches the program parameters of the vacancy. Rapid vacancies will generally be matched to households with medium-level service needs. Households with high service needs may be placed in Rapid, and if required, transition to more intensive housing interventions later if available. If a chronic household is placed in housing other than permanent supportive housing, the sending agency will need to document chronicity prior to the placement to preserve the household's permanent supportive housing eligibility if a permanent supportive housing placement is required later. Rapid vacancies are divided into 4 categories across the subpopulations: households with minor children, transition-age youth adult-only households, chronic adult-only households, and non-chronic adult-only households. Once CE notifies the sending agency of a match, the sending agency has 2 business days to locate the client, verify interest, and accept the match, confirm the client is still literally homeless, and complete, upload, and unlock phase assessment parts 4 through 6. This is a sample of a rapid match email. The sending agency should respond indicating the client is still literally homeless and has accepted the match. For Rapid, the goal from match to referral is 2 calendar days, compared to 14 calendar days for permanent supportive housing. Once CE makes a referral, the receiving agency is responsible for verifying literal homelessness at point of entry into the Rapid project, not at date housed. So if your intake is today, but the client is housed in 2 weeks, the client needs to have been verified literally homeless last night. Literal homelessness is staying in a place not meant for living or sleeping, such as on the street, in the woods, an emergency shelter, in a car, etc. Literal homelessness is not staying on a couch or in a room at someone's house, or living with someone without their own lease, or paying to stay in a motel. The receiving agency is also responsible for communicating directly with the sending agency throughout the process, keeping CE informed of progress, notifying CE if a client is unable to be located, informing CE when a client is housed, closing the progress tracker in HMIS when a client is housed, communicating to CE if a placement did not occur, and a request to return a referral is being submitted. For data and funding purposes, it is very important to notify the CE team when a client is housed and closing the progress tracker in HMIS. Here is an example of a rapid referral email. The receiving agency is responsible for scheduling an in-person meeting, verifying literal homelessness, and keeping the CE team informed about progress. Please note, unlike permanent supportive housing, the CE team will not verify accuracy or validity of eligibility documents for Rapid. CE will only verify that the documents exist. Receiving agencies are ultimately responsible for accepting documentation. CE will intervene if necessary where questions and concerns arise between sending and receiving agencies. The HUD goal for total time from referral to housed is no more than 30 calendar days. Sending agency workers need to maintain weekly contact once a VI SPDOT has been completed. Must be able to quickly contact someone when a match is made to housing, and maintain weekly contact with anyone who is in the housing process. All of these will help facilitate the matching and referral process. There are often challenges to housing a client after being referred, such as transportation and maintaining contact with the client. If possible, provide bus or transit passes to the client. Furthermore, reduce the number of trips a client has to make by having a unit ready to view when they do intake at the receiving agency, or have multiple units to view at a time. Receiving agency staff can also arrange shelter space in the region for the client to eliminate or minimize the need to travel. Maintaining contact with the client after referral can also be a challenge. Receiving agencies should keep ongoing communication with sending agency staff and make sure there is a current phone number on file for the client. So how can we meet these HUD goals? Case conferencing is a tool we use to help facilitate successful transitions into housing. Sending and receiving agencies are required to participate in case conferencing calls for their clients in the housing process. Case conferencing is an opportunity for everyone on the call to brainstorm and collectively problem solve to remove barriers for a household being housed. Information provided on the call should include progress made, obstacles experienced, and brainstorming ideas. Sending and receiving agencies should communicate with each other throughout the entire referral process until the individual is housed. The sending agencies have worked with the client and can provide background information. Additionally, the collaboration removes the unnecessary need for a client to repeatedly share their story. This is a way we practice trauma-informed care. Agencies should also collaborate to orient the client to their new neighborhood, apartment, and the transition of being housed. Both should work together to proactively plan for challenges. Agencies should also collaborate to